Hello everyone, our today's topic for discussion is glycogen metabolism, and in this lecture we will discuss about the glycogenesis and the glycogenolysis. So what is glycogen? Glycogen is a readily mobilized storage form of glucose in liver and muscles. It is very large branched polymer of glucose residues that can be broken down to yield glucose molecules when energy is needed in our body. Most of the glucose residues in glycogen are linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. Branches at about every 10th residue are created by alpha 1,6 glycosidic bonds. So if we see the structure, then this is the structure of glycogen. Here in this chain, the first carbon of one glucose molecule is linked with the fourth carbon of another glucose molecule to form the basic chain, and this is known as 1,4 linkage. And at about every 10th residue there is a branching. So this is the branching in which first carbon of this glucose is linked to the sixth carbon of this glucose. So it is known as 1,6 linkage at the branching. So this is the structure of a glycogen molecule. Now coming to the significance of glycogenesis. Glycogen is a major source of storage of carbohydrate in animals. It provides readily available source of glucose 1-phosphate for glycolysis within muscles itself. Liver glycogen functions to store and export glucose to maintain blood glucose concentration in fasting state as a buffer. Glycogen is readily mobilized and is therefore a good source of energy for sudden strenuous activity. Glycogen storage diseases are a group of inherited disorders characterized by deficient mobilization of glycogen or deposition of abnormal form of glycogen, which may lead to liver damage, muscle weakness, or even early death. So all these are the significance for the glycogenesis. Now coming to the steps in the glycogenesis. So what is glycogenesis? The synthesis of glycogen from glucose is known as glycogenesis, and it takes place in the cytosol and requires ATP, UTP and glucose. If we talk about the steps, then there are mainly 4 steps in the glycogenesis. The first is the activation of the glucose, the second is the initiation, third is the elongation, and the fourth is the glycogen branching. So the first part of glyconeogenesis is activation of glucose, in which there is a formation of uridine diphosphate glucose. That means all of these 3 steps comes in the activation of the glucose. In the first step, this glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. We have already seen this step in glycolysis. The step will take place in the presence of hexokinase enzyme, which requires 1 ATP molecule. Then in the second step, this glucose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose 1-phosphate in the presence of enzyme phosphoglucomutase. In the third step, this glucose 1-phosphate add on with uridine triphosphate to form uridine diphosphate glucose in the presence of UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase. So this is the activation of the glucose in which there is a formation of uridine diphosphate glucose. Now the second step is initiation, and in initiation this uridine diphosphate glucose utilizes glycogenin. Glycogenin is a protein with 7 glucose molecule to form glycogen primer. Means this uridine diphosphate glucose utilizes this glycogenin to form the glycogen primer. This glycogen primer in the presence of glycogen synthase will form a glucose chain, 1,4-glucosyl residue chain, which is up to 11 to 12 glucose molecule long, and this UDP will helps to elongate the chain by successive addition of the glucose molecule. So we get a single chain of the glucose, and the step is known as initiation step. Now the glycogen synthase can add glucose units only in alpha 1,4 linkage. Alpha 1,4 linkage. The glycogen synthase, this glycogen synthase can add glucose units in only alpha 1,4 linkage. A branching enzyme now is needed to create the alpha 1,6 linkage. A branching enzyme here is needed to create the alpha 1,6 linkage, and when the chain is lengthened here up to 11 to 12 glucose residue, then the branching enzyme will transfer a block of 6 to 8 glucose residues from this chain, a branch of 6 to 8 glucose residue from this chain to another site. For example, if there is a chain of 11 to 12 glucose molecule, then what will happen? From the end, 6 to 8 glucose molecule will come and attached here to produce branching and 1,6 linkage. To this newly created residue, further glucose units can be added by alpha 1,4 linkage by glycogen synthase, and this step is known as branching. And the branching enzyme which is required is known as glucosyl transferase, or we can say that glucosyl 4,6 transferase. And after the branching, we can get a glycogen molecule which is 1,4 and 1,6 glycosyl unit. So these are the different steps in the glycogenesis. First is the activation of glucose. There is a formation of uridine diphosphate glucose. Second is the initiation, in which this uridine diphosphate glucose utilize this glycogenin to form the glycogen primer, and the glycogen primer in the presence of glycogen synthase will form a single chain of glucose molecules, and the successive glucose molecules are added with the help of this UDP. This is the process of initiation, and then this glycogen synthase will add the successive glucose molecules and develop 1,4 glycosyl residues in the step of the elongation. And then after elongation up to 11 to 12 glucose molecule, there is the utilization of the branching enzyme, that is glucosyl 4,6 transferase, which will add on the 6 to 8 glucose molecule from this chain to the another side to form the branching in the glycogen molecule. Now after the working of the branching enzyme, we can get a glycogen molecule which is having both 1,4 and 1,6 glycosyl unit. So all the 4 steps are completed. Now coming towards the glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis is the breakdown of the glycogen to glucose 1-phosphate and glucose. It is the degradation of the stored glycogen in the liver. Glycogen is degraded by breaking the alpha-1,4 and alpha-1,6 glycosidic bonds through the enzyme present in the cytosol of the muscles and liver. In liver, the end product is glucose, and in muscles, the end product is glucose 6-phosphate, which undergo glycolysis to produce ATP from for muscle contraction. So what are the steps? The first step is phosphorylasis, that is shortening of chain. The second is debranching or the removal of the branches, and the third is the formation of glucose 6-phosphate and glucose. So here is the process of glycogenolysis. This is the glycogen molecule, and in the first step, the alpha-1,4 glycosidic bond, the alpha-1,4 glycosidic bonds were present in this chain, and this is the 1,6 linkage which produces the branching in the glycogen molecule. So the alpha-1,4 glycosidic bond from the non-reducing end are cleaved by the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. This is the important enzyme, glycogen phosphorylase, to yield the glucose 1-phosphate, and the process continues until 4 glucose residues remain on either side of the branching point. So I am repeating, this is the glycogen molecule, and in this glycogen molecule, the shortening of chain started from the non-reducing end, and it is cleaved by the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase to yield the glucose 1-phosphate, and the process continues until 4 glucose residues remain on either side of the branching. The glycogen so formed is known as limit dextrin, which cannot be further degraded by this enzyme, that is glycogen phosphorylase. And this limit dextrin is a highly branched molecule. So this is the first step of the glycogenolysis, that is phosphorylasis or the shortening of the chain by the glycogen phosphorylase. There is a production of glucose 1-phosphate and the limit dextrin. Now in the second step, there is the debranching or the removal of the branches. The branches of the glycogen are cleaved by 2 enzymes, namely the transferase and the glucosidase. There are 2 enzymes, the debranching enzyme transferase and the debranching enzyme glucosidase. Both of these enzymes will act in the debranching step. This transferase removes a fragment of 3 to 4 glucose residue attached at a branch and transfers it to another chain or another branch, and now the branch point is free. For example, this transferase will transfer this 3 glucose molecule to this chain. So here in the chain there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 glucose molecules, but after addition of these 3 glucose molecules in the chain, there is 12 molecules of the glucose in this chain, and only 1 molecule of glucose is present here at the branching point. Now the activity of glucosidase enzyme starts here and glucosidase breaks this alpha 1,6 bond at the branch site with a single glucose and form a single glucose molecule and releases a free glucose. This glucosidase will break this 1,6 linkage and produce a free glucose molecule. So there are two enzymes, that is the transferase and the glucosidase, and both of these will together convert the branch point to a linear glycogen molecule. So this is the linear glycogen molecule after debranching. Now there is the third step, that is the formation of glucose 6-phosphate and glucose. After the several cleaving action of both of these enzymes, the transferase and the glucosidase, glucose 1-phosphate and the free glucose unit is formed. This glucose 1-phosphate is converted into glucose 6-phosphate by the enzyme phosphoglucomutase. This glucose 6-phosphate will goes to the glycolysis, and also it is converted to glucose in the liver. That's why we have said that in the glycogenolysis we can get glucose molecule in the liver, but we can get glucose 6-phosphate molecule in the muscles, which through glycolysis will provide energy for the muscle contraction. So these are the different steps of the glycogenolysis: the phosphorylasis step, the debranching, and the formation of glucose 6-phosphate. And the formation of the glucose 6-phosphate and the one free glucose molecule. Now coming to the regulation. The glycogenesis is controlled by the glycogen synthase, and the glycogenolysis is controlled by the glycogen phosphorylase. Both of these are very important enzymes, the glycogen synthase for the glycogenesis and the glycogen phosphorylase for glycogenolysis. And both of these enzymes are regulated by cyclic AMP. Hormones like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and glucagon in the liver activate adenyl cyclase to increase the production of cyclic AMP. So this is all about the glycogenesis and glycogenolysis. If you like this video, please do subscribe my channel and share with your friends. Thank you for your time.